Hi everyone, welcome. It is that time of day again. So all of this week at 1 o'clock I'm going live, teaching you some of the lessons that I learnt when I was in San Diego at the Social Media and Marketing World Conference. Today I want to talk to you all about getting known. And when I say getting known, it's not about being famous. It is just about being known in your world, whatever that world might be. I attended Mark Schaefer's lecture, and if you've not checked out Mark Schaefer, please do. He's got a book called Known. He's a legend in the marketing world. I'm embarrassed to say that 2 years ago when I went, I didn't know who he was. And I ended up talking to him on this, they do this party on the ship, and I was talking to him and I was like, I'm really sorry, I don't know who you are. Yes, not good. He's like the king. So, hello Tina Clark, welcome. So we're talking today all about how to get known. And Mark told this story about, obviously he's an expert with marketing and all things to do with marketing and getting known. And he had an interview. He was doing some private consulting work for the US Air Force. And so they'd invited him onto this Skype call to talk about, you know, the contract. And it was quite a big deal for him. He was telling us this story. And there were several people on the Skype call, and he started to do a presentation and tell people who he was, what he was doing, how he would work for them. And in the end, the boss that was on the call as well said, Mr. Schaefer, please stop there. We know who you are. We all read your blogs. And so obviously it was a win-win situation for him. You know, the call was just a precursor. They already knew that they wanted him because he'd already put years of work in. So I want you to start thinking about how you're showing up in your world and how you are known. If you were to jump on a Skype call with your local authority about a job that you were going to be doing for the local authority, or let's say you were jumping on a call with the education board, do they know who you are in the community? Who do you want to work with? Where do you need to get known so that you're in that similar position as Mark Schaefer was in when he's talking to the US Air Force? They're like, we know who you are. So he'd already got that relationship going, even though they'd never met. And I am aware of this because it's similar to what I do in my world. Because I blog 3 times a week and I show up on lives like this, you all get to know me. Some of you have never met me. I met the Dreamies not last Friday. God, time flies, doesn't it? It was about 2 weeks ago in London. And some of them, like, I felt like I knew them because we've got this social media world and we've got a little group called The Office where we all hang out. And so I talk to them every day in the office. I feel like I know them, even though we've never actually met in person because I'm helping them all grow their businesses. So some people, it was the first time that we'd ever met, but we'd already got that know, love and trust. I don't think it's enough to have the know, like and trust relationship anymore. It's know, love and trust relationship. And Susan Booth, who I had actually met a couple of times before, actually I think probably just once before, she was there early with Sally and they were having drinks, and I always try and get to places really early so that I'm there to welcome them. I'm like, oh my God, you're really early. And she's like, oh, it's so good to see you. I feel like you're my best friend because we talk every day and everything. It's really nice to have that kind of relationship with your clients. So, you know, how are you showing up in the world? Are you showing up daily for your guys? Have you got a community where you're all hanging out? A couple of other examples that I want to talk about, and then I'm going to outline the 4 processes that Mark says that you need to concentrate on to get known. I want to talk about my dad. My dad is retired now, and for years he was a builder, and he worked for a big organisation called Moss's Builders, and they travelled. He built most of Milton Keynes and Daventry, I think, when that was first constructed. And he's worked, you know, in Leicestershire, in and around Leicestershire, where we were living at the time, and particularly a lot in the village where we lived, which was Wineswold. But when he first started his career, he was just working for these big builders. kind of back in the 60s and 70s. And then he decided to go it alone, which, as you know, is very scary. And my mum was pushing him for years, and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't jump. He used to work weekends, and then eventually he did take that leap of faith. And my dad ended up working for over 30 years as a builder, and he never advertised once because he was known. He was known to do a good job. He was known to charge a reasonable rate. He was known that if you needed him in an emergency, if your tile came off your roof, Bob the builder would come down and help you. And so I'm sure you know people like that, probably your own parents and your own grandparents. You know, back in the day, you were just known in the community and people would come to you. So are you known in your community? Are people referring you? If not, why not? And if they are, you know, what can you do to help? I literally this morning actually was referred by Liam Thompson. I don't know if you know Liam, but I've just joined this new online community called Freedom, and I'm in there saying hello. And because Liam Thompson knows me, and we go way back, we both used to mentor with Paul Mort, and because Liam knows me, he's immediately recommending me to the owners. It's like, hey, you should get some training from Yvonne on this, on media and social media. So who knows where that might lead? It might lead to something, it might not lead to something, but I'm always really grateful that people have recommended me, and word of mouth, honestly, you can't go wrong, can you? I always think it's more important what people say about you when you're not in the room. What are they saying about you? Another person, another example of this, of getting known, and this kind of is where I talk about what I do rather than what Mark Schaefer was talking about. When Donna Noble first joined me, she wanted to be known, but she said to me, oh, Radley, I'm just a yoga teacher. I'm just a yoga teacher. You know, what can I bring to the world? What can I be known for? And so we brainstormed quite a lot. She worked with me one-on-one for quite a while, actually. Over a year, it might have been 2 years. And eventually what we came up with, well, she came up with it, I just helped her to develop it, was Curve Some Yoga. So now Donna is the woman who is known for promoting body positive images. She's also known for teaching yoga to curvy ladies. You know, not the stereotypical yoga body, you know, size 10, blonde hair, tiny person. She teaches lots of different people, lots of different sizes, how to do yoga, and her Instagram is amazing. It's just full of lots of videos of women doing incredible things, and she is known in her niche for doing that. Not only is she known by that community, but she's also got media exposure for that. She's been in Sainsbury's magazine, she's been to the Om Show where she spoke and delivered a class, she's been in yoga magazines, she's been in international magazines like in America where it's quite a big thing as well, and over here in the UK she's been on radio shows, she's been on podcasts. So Donna is known in that arena. So what arena are you in? Where is your niche? And this brings me neatly on to Mark's 4 areas of speciality that he talked about. I'm just going to pull up my notes because I want to make sure I get them right. So number 1 is the place. You know, what place are you showing up in? And also that goes very neatly with space. So for Donna, the place is really your niche. So for Donna, it's all about yoga for curvy ladies. What space is she using for that? She does a lot of work on Twitter. She does a lot of work with the beauty bloggers, well, the plus size bloggers. And also she works with celebrities, like she had Lisa Riley as an ambassador for a long time. So she definitely uses Twitter. She also uses Instagram to great effect. And she has a presence on Facebook. And as I've just demonstrated, she gets into a lot of magazines and then leverages that on social media. So you can see how it all starts to link together. But first you have to figure out your place and the space that you're going to own. For me personally, I am all over Facebook. It's like I live here. And I've been on Facebook since well, I've been on Facebook for 10 years. I think it's 13 years old. I think it's 10 years. Certainly since 2010, the last 7 years particularly, I've been all over Facebook. And I'm in groups. I use it. It's like a networking tool for me. And it's where I've built my brand. It's where I've built my company. It's where people find me. Nowadays, I am spending a little bit more time, actually a lot more time, over on Instagram. And just this morning, somebody rang me up from Instagram wanting to talk to me about my products. And I sold one of my retreats on Instagram recently, and somebody's just talking to me about Media School. So Instagram, I've been going at that for about a year, and that's starting to get traction now. I'm actually getting sales and conversions from it, which I'll come back to that in a minute. Content is the third thing. So 1 is place, 2 is space. Then you've got your content. As you know, I blog 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Now, I'm not advocating that you do that. If you work in the fitness and wellness zone, I highly recommend that you blog once a week, because general public, that's how often they like to hear from you. They don't want daily email, and the algorithm on your email doesn't want daily email, in my opinion. I am talking to other businesses, so I'm B2B, you guys are B2C, and I'm a marketeer, so people expect to hear from me for quite a lot throughout the week. For you guys, it's a different ball game. You've got a different audience. You're talking to general public. And they're not used to our internet world. Most of them don't know what it is. My dad says to people when they go, "What does your daughter actually do?" They could just about fathom it when I worked on the radio. And he's like, "Oh, she's on that interwebby thing." I love it. But at least he knows. And my dad is actually learning about Facebook. Whenever I go round, I gave them an iPad at Christmas. And I'm like, "Let me show you how to use it." And he's quite interested. My mum's dragging her heels. She doesn't want to know. She gets really irate. I must video it actually because it's so funny. It's like a comedy show, watching them both trying to do it. It's fun. Oh, it's so funny. Anyway, I digress. So content. What content can you put out? This week, I'm putting these 5 daily shows out at 1 o'clock every day this week. Because I went to San Diego and invested all that time and money in the conference, I want to share that with my audience. And hopefully that's going to help you to know, love and trust me a little bit more. It's like, yeah, she rocks. She went to San Diego for us. Where can you go for your clients? What kind of things are you showing them? Do you do marathon training? Are you doing competitions? Maybe you're in kettlebell competitions. Maybe you're one of these people that stands on the stage and does all the muscles and everything. Take your clients with you on the journey and report back on what you learn. The fourth and final one is audience. So like for Donna, when she was, as she said, just a yoga teacher, her audience was women, a few celebrities, probably a few men as well, who went to the Bikram studio, and that pretty much was her audience. It was quite small, I think she was in South London. So it was people that were in her vicinity. Now her audience is blooming international. It's huge. She is talking to all the plus size models, and she's talking to any curvy ladies that are interested in yoga. Do you know how many of those are in the world? A lot. So when you actually niche down and focus down, drill down, you actually expand your market. For me, I do this. I only work with fitness, wellness and health people. I'm starting to go a little bit into beauty. I do some work with the girls at Arbonne. But it's still kind of on that periphery, isn't it, of wellness. But I hardly ever, I have done in the past, spoken to normal business people. I can't do it. They're on a different level to me. They've no passion. I'm sure there's the exception. I'm being very sweeping here in my statements, but I love working with health and wellness professionals because of the passion and the drive that they have. It matches my own speed that I like to work, 1,000,000 miles an hour, and we just like to get the job done. Also, I find that with the health and wellness world, you're 10 years ahead of normal businesses. because of the gurus that you learn from. It's all that Dan Kennedy school of marketing. And so we're immediately on the same page when it comes to marketing and how it's progressed. Obviously, we're not going to stay with the Dan Kennedy. We're moving on, we're evolving as social media takes off. So you've got you've got place, space, content, and your audience. And I say niche that audience down, because then you reach a bigger audience when you finally start speaking to them, and it's a global audience. And then the final thing is persistence. And so you've got to be persistent and consistent. So it's like for the last 7 years, I've pretty much done a blog on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday, pretty much every day. I've missed the odd one, and sometimes when I go on holiday, I'll say to you guys, hey, I'm sure you've heard enough of me for this year, you know, I'm gonna take a week's break, and I'm giving you a break as well. But on the whole, you can pretty much bet your bottom dollar that I will be blogging to you on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday. I love the other people in the industry that do it. Rachel Holmes, her Thursday newsletter, she does it every week without fail. I've never known it not to go out. I think there was a technical hitch and her email went into meltdown because everyone was like, where's the newsletter? And she still got it out just a little bit later. And she's been doing that for, I think, 30 years? Yeah. Paul Mort, another great advocate of this. He does do daily email, but again, he's a marketer, and a lot of the people that he's talking to are marketers as well. And so he's been doing that relentlessly for years. I mentored with him five or 6 years ago, and that's kind of when he started it. So yeah, I think he's been doing that for I would imagine a good 5 years. Persistent and consistent, and look at those two. Absolute giants in the industry, because they constantly show up. Other people have come and gone. Why? Because they're not consistent. And so look at your consistency and how are you showing up in the world? How do you want to be known? What do you want to achieve this year? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to work with your local authority? Do you want to create an online program? Look at people like the Body Coach. You know, he's created his 15 minutes, the books and everything, and he comes on, oh God, he does a lot as well, doesn't he? That's a whole other conversation though, because I don't believe it was just this Instagram sensation. He does have a PR company behind him with 16 people, and his brother was in marketing. So I think there was added benefits of what he was doing. But give him his dues, he does show up relentlessly. He's always on Instagram stories now. Ever since that launched, he's constantly on there doing stuff. You know, these people are showing up. Deliciously Ella, consistently showing up day in, day out. If you feel a bit crappy one day, I'm sorry, but you've got to go live. You just got to keep showing up. You can't really take your foot off the gas nowadays. So what do you want to do to show up? Let me just double check my notes to see what else. I came up with a whole load of ideas. Oh yeah, maybe you want to be a speaker or a presenter. You know, again, you need to be showing up to do that. And then obviously traditional media, so maybe getting into magazines, TV, radio. To get in the newspapers, you know, people will say to me, oh yeah, I sent my press release in for 3 months, I didn't hear anything, so I gave up on that. It's like, no, don't give up. You've got to go at least 6 months, if not a year, to show the news department that you are going to be consistent for them. You're going to show up every month with a brilliant idea. When I was editor, I used to test people and test their resilience and see how dedicated they were. Because you'd get hundreds of people a day saying, oh, I really like to write for your newspaper. And I'd be like, really? Do you really want it? Well, let's put that to the test. Let's see how many times you pitched me. And most would never pitch again. It's like, yeah, I'm not going there. Twice, they get on my radar. 3 times, I would make, if they pitched me 3 times, I would pick up the phone and have a conversation with them. And then, you know, quite likely, I would use them. So just have that in mind, guys, when you're pitching to newspapers and magazines. We might be testing you to see how persistent you are and how dedicated, because, you know, in journalism, it's all about the deadline and you cannot miss that deadline. There's, you know, bulletins to put out, there's newspapers and magazines to put out. You can't put it out with pages missing. So we always test the people that come through. And also, you can't just put any old content out. It has to be high caliber content as well. So when you're trying to get publicity, you know, give yourself a year. You're playing the long, all of this and all of business, it's what I teach in the Dream Life Academy. It's all the long game. If you're looking for quick fixes, if you're looking to be known overnight, you might be known overnight, but you'll disappear just as fast. Much better to be known, like my dad, as a builder, for years and years and years, showing up day in, day out, getting the work done, and being resilient. There you go, guys. Hopefully that's going to help you get better known. And tomorrow is my final day on this special series, and it's going to be all about how you can create beautiful Instagram images. If you know anyone that would like to see any of these videos that I've done, please feel free to share them around in your groups or with your friends. And if you have any comments, then pop it in the box below, and I'll come back on later and answer any questions you've got or any comments. Was that useful for you? Give me some love hearts and some thumbs up if you found it useful. And I hope you're all going to have a lovely Easter break. I'm just going to do the live tomorrow, and then I'm taking some time out Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, I'm getting thumbs up there. I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing with myself. Seeing Rachel on Friday, so we will be going live on Friday afternoon actually. It's going to be around 5 o'clock, I think. We're going to the pub. What am I doing Saturday? Saturday I've got yoga. Actually, I need to check that it's on. I think it's on. And then we're going to my mum and dad's for hot dogs at lunch, me and my sister. I love that. It's just going to be like daughter and mummy daddy time. Brilliant. And Sunday I haven't decided, but I'm totally chilling on Sunday. I need to check the weather. I want to go on a bike ride, but I think it's rain. Anyway, that's it. I'll be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock. See you then.